Island right now. So
it is one of the most terrifying sports I've ever watched in my life.
It's crazy. Literally, it's just a cannonball that they throw down the road. Think about if it was coming at you out of a cannon.
No. I'd rather not. That guy throws it as fast as a cannon. He literally runs and spins his arm like he's trying to do a friggin' windmill and flings that sucker. That thing's flying.
Yeah, he's moving too.
These people are maybe 12 foot apart.
Yeah.
If you're lucky. What's the chances he doesn't trip and just and hammers you with that thing?
I wonder how many Irish road bowling deaths there have been. I mean, the game's been going on since, I want to say, the 1600s.
I don't know, man.
Something like that.
I don't know. It just seems like if I was an insurance company, I would not cover your injuries if you got hurt while watching Irish bowling because it's that dangerous. Be like,
we don't cover being dumb.
You should not be that close to somebody throwing a steel ball. There's probably like certain liabilities that I don't want to take.
Wait, so you're telling me you got hit by a cannonball, sir? I'm afraid that's not on your policy. Oh,
yeah, you should have got the 1700s package, not the 2000s.
Oh,
we don't cover musket wounds or cannonballs. So
stay here. I'll post the link later for the Irish road bowling, so you can all go check that out. It's pretty crazy.
Who's there? It's rare. Who's there? It's rare. Come fill your time. This pod's for all. From the Finger Lakes, join in the call. Learn something new about the Cuca Trail. Upstate New York, every episode a tell. Who's there? It's rare. Who's there? It's rare. It's rare.
2 ounce.
All right. Well,
and we're back live
from Penn Yan. I'll tell you what, I got in here right before, like, it was starting to drip a little bit, and then you called me and said you were going to be running late, and
not this late, if everyone's wondering.
Not this late.
We got stuck on some videos.
We were watching some YouTube videos, but we were watching the Irish road bowling, and then we got talking about Charles Barkley's golf swing.
That thing is ugly. That is the ugliest.
If you've never seen Charles Barkley swing a golf club, just YouTube Charles Barkley golf swing.
How do you come down with such force to and then try to, like, I don't understand, like, where that would even come from.
He's just, he's a professional athlete. He's so strong.
When you see people hitch, like, I don't know how much golf you've played in your life.
A lot of golf.
But a lot of people have a hitch, especially people that don't have very good hip movement, and and they're not good at doing the swing. I mean, I'm sure I have a hitch that I don't notice, but dude, that is like
hold all that up.
Yeah, that has to strain. Think about it, because you're coming. Like, it looks like he's coming in hot.
Do you think it hurts?
I don't know. You know what the problem is? It's like anything else. When you think too much about it, it's like, think about it. If any pressure situation you've ever been in, it's like the more you put on it. Like, my favorite's to think about like a race. Like, when you're trying to race to do something. I remember, like, I was in, tech in high school, like how you do tech class or whatever. And I've ran a screw gun my entire life. Like, my dad's a contractor.
Yeah.
And the tech teacher, like, goes, "Hey, I bet you I can use what is that? Like, those hand crank drills.
Yeah.
Faster than you can use a drill and drill eight holes." And I was like, no way. Like,
oh yeah. Those things are crazy.
No way.
Was it one of the spring loaded ones?
I can't remember.
Where you just, like, you push down on it and it fucking
he
rotates.
Was holding it hand crank.
Have you seen those ones?
No.
They've got them where it just, like, I don't know, it just auto rotates. It's cool.
Really?
Yeah.
No. He did it by hand. And I was like, I started like I thought I was going so fast, but I wasn't, because I was like shaking. You know what I mean? Like, when you think you got to go really fast and you're just like shaking because you're trying to move. And I had to start with the drill out of the gun and everything. So the bit, so like, and I'm like, I just was not. And it's funny, he beat me. And I was like, dude, that's a really bad look. And then after there was no pressure, I did it. And he timed me. I did it like so quick. It was like, it's just funny. A little bit of pressure will.
It's amazing. It's like the ones that make it to the highest levels of everything, whether it's sports, business, anything. It's not necessarily the people who are the strongest or the fastest or the smartest. It's just the people who can perform in pressure.
I'm sure that, yeah.
It
that
just
makes sense.
like if you just can relax and do the thing, everything that, like every single thing that is a pressure scenario, people that can just relax and focus on the thing that they're doing rather than like trying to, get anxious about it. They're the ones that Kobe Bryant, you think that he was like, he's
pretty cool.
Slow down time. You know what I'm saying? Like Michael Jordan. Yeah.
That's funny. We said at the same time. It's just like, and it is, because if you've ever watched Michael Jordan play, you're like, just seems like he's playing at one speed and everyone else is playing at a different speed.
But even like
same thing.
Elon Musk,
right?
What's the Jerry Mitchellek? You imagine being able to like slam a piece of iron 12 times, whatever, like 6 times in 2.7 seconds or whatever it is, just like pop, 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 pop.
No, I'd miss,
because but he doesn't worry about that. He just goes pop, 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 pop. He knows that he can do it. He doesn't worry about it.
Crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Hey, Jamie, thanks for you and Ginny coming up yesterday. Distillery is nice seeing
you. The Yankee Screwdriver. Is that the spring-loaded one, Jamie?
Scott and Michelle.
Hello to the Grays. I think they're on the road. On the road again.
On the road.
We went out for a little wine tour yesterday.
Is that where you came up with the absinthe?
That's where I picked it up from Carlton. We stopped at Crooked Tusker, and he said Jesse was asking for a bottle of absinthe, so he sent it up with me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jamie says that is
that's
the
cool
thing.
Yankee Screwdriver.
Yankee Screwdriver. Jamie would know, man. I feel like that's his style of knowledge, man.
Did Bob Vila use one of those in the Yankee workshop?
I don't know.
See this thing?
So Jamie was right.
Yeah.
Yankee Screwdriver. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It's like I want to be able to just mute. This guy's gonna use. Okay,
he's wearing an LL Bean hat. He knows Yankee Screwdrivers.
Douchebag. What? Look at.
What?
You ever seen anything like that?
What?
Yeah.
Like, why does it work so easy?
Cause see how it's got that.
It looks easier than a drill. What is that?
Totally. You just go shoot.
Oh no! Yeah.
I would beat your ass with it. You
would beat anybody. It's not even. He's not even drilling.
Yeah.
Right?
But think about using one of those versus using like anything else. Wonder if he does. Oh, here we go. He's gonna use it for real. Put in a screw.
Yeah, I mean, you'd probably beat it. You'd probably beat it with a screw gun now, but I'm sure at one point that was like serious innovation.
And it's in?
Yeah. A guy that really knows how to use a screw gun would beat it, but back then, can you imagine? I mean, that was probably pretty sweet.
Totally. Yeah. I would use one today.
That's pretty sweet.
I got to get some. No, I don't. But someday when I've got my own garage, then I'll have one.
Yeah.
I'll use it to build I don't know, you don't use screws in a canoe, do you?
I wouldn't.
No, it sounds like a bad idea.
You think you use a lot of finishing nails?
In a canoe?
Yeah.
No.
You think you're using like big nails?
Rivets, maybe. Probably mostly like glue and epoxy stuff.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And then they cover it with canvas or Kevlar or whatever.
Wow. And hanging doors with them.
To drill out for the lock sets.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So Jamie's got all the experience with it. Sounds like I bet your dad's used them.
I don't know. I maybe. I'm sure. I don't know. If Jamie and my dad got to be around the same age.
I don't want to call Jamie and your dad old timers, but I want to say that probably like all the old time guys, like not like just the guys that used to do the stuff the way that it's not done anymore.
Yeah.
Like that did it the original way.
I remember when I was younger, we were using a nail gun to put shingles down, and the nail gun stopped working. And my dad's like, "Go get me a handful of nails." And like, I was like, "You're gonna do this with a hammer?"
Bam, bam,
just as quick,
bam,
just like
bam. Yeah,
just like it was nothing.
It's got the little like the little nail holder on it for the roofing nails, right?
No, not this one. But yeah, no, he just was like,
No
just
shit.
like where you put the gun. And I was like watching him do it. And something that, again, I don't think we'd ever need to learn, but the way he'd put a bunch in his hand, and he'd just flip it between a finger, and he'd be turning in his hand. And I was just thinking the whole time when I was young, I was like, that's just like years, years of experience that you can't just gain that without, like, no one knows how to do it. You have to learn. It's so funny to watch.
You figure out little,
just do it. I'm sure it's like everything else.
You do it 1,000 times so you find, oh, this way works really good.
Yeah. I'm sure every once in a while you slam your finger here and there, and you're like, oh, well, keep going. So
I wonder.
Yeah,
I've smashed
the
my
older
fingers
generation is a lot harder than our generation. They're like, men wise, especially, I would say, are a lot harder. I don't know when it comes to women. Maybe I don't spend much time doing like working with them, but working with a man in his 50s and then working with younger guys, it's like, it's really hard to have a 50-year-old man not come into work. It's true. With good work ethic. Like, you can't, like, they'll get hurt. Well, and most kids would take like 3 or 4 days off. These guys are like, no, I got to go to work. I'll be there tomorrow in the morning. It's like,
but again, that's like anything where you just don't make it to 50 or 60 unless like you can focus on it kind of deal. Right. Yeah. Like the guys who are those, like, there were probably just as many soft guys back then, and they just got weeded out.
Right. They're not doing that kind of.
It's like work. You go run like my favorite distance for this to explain it is like a 10K. You go to any 10K and there'll be a guy that's like 70 years old that will be like, he'll beat the pants off of most of the young guys. Yeah. And it's like, you're 70, I'm 20. Why can you beat me? Like, I should be like, you're supposed to be deteriorating. It's like, yeah, well, you're not still running a 10K at 70 years old unless you're good at it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, newbie. I'm sure that is too. But just like I said, I professional wise, I haven't worked with many women, like, in any job. Yeah. But I'm sure there's a lot to it,
I don't know, newbie. How many 60-year-old women have you seen give childbirth?
Homemaking too. I wonder if I would like to get a female's take on being able to, like, back then was being able to stay home with your children and cook and clean and do and like keep the house compared to having a professional career now. Like, what's more enjoyable? What is harder? What would you rather do? It'd be interesting.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Most of them that I've talked to, I think they like the ability to get out of the house.
I would think, yeah.
And do something. But, sometimes look at what the childcare costs are. So, I mean, sometimes it just makes more sense to have somebody stay home.
My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and I mean, it was like a job. She was always doing something, It was just like, she took it serious like a job, and it's pretty crazy. So, yeah. There you go.
There you go. Home life's harder.
I
think psychologically, I just couldn't do it. Like I couldn't do. I think that's why a lot of times you see those same people get involved with like PTAs and like volunteers. Like they have to do something because
your family sucks.
I'd go crawe.
Well, I always thought my mom would drown us. I like, there was a couple times it was like, she might be like that lady that drives her kids in the lake. Like, cause we used to drive her pretty nuts. So.
Yeah.
The problem is I don't think she knew where to take us to the lake to really do it. So,
right.
So we were alive. We had a pond, but that was filthy. So, yeah. One of the things I'll never forget my mom was like, if I remember when my dad was sick, he could be sick, not for the whole day because he was running his own company. So he had to, but my mom, when she was sick, she still had to take care of all of us.
Right.
Like that, there's no like breaks.
Because you couldn't take care of yourself.
I mean, not when you have like a 2-year-old little brother and a 5-year-old sister. And then I'm like in 8 or 9, like, it's just like, I mean, maybe I'd be fine, but like, what are you going to do with a 2-year-old?
You give them Cheerios.
Liquor. Probably. That's what I'd do. But
give them some wild turkey.
Yeah, but in case I ever run for president, we better get off this issue because they'll say I was probably saying something.
Yeah, but you were 8. So, hey, speaking of which, I saw an article this morning about that. You ever heard of White Boy Rick?
Yeah, he's freaking awesome.
Yeah. So the deal is, right? What do you know about White Boy Rick?
The movie.
I didn't see the movie.
Okay.
I didn't see any of that. I read an article about him today. I've heard about him.
Okay.
I read an article today. He's suing, I want to say the FBI and the Detroit Police Department for $100 million.
Okay.
He spent over 32 years in prison, for stuff that he says that they basically set him up to do. Like he says he was working for them and he knew it.
I mean, a lot of people have that case. Think about the real Rick Ross.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying is like,
Not
how
the
many
rapper
people,
Rick Ross, the real Rick Ross.
how many people, yeah, it's like all these guys named Rick, all these that basically were given drugs by the FBI and by like police departments, Detroit Police Department in this case, and told, hey, like go sell this or go buy this or like, and then we're going to use you to put all these guys in jail. And then, by the way, you're going to spend, and they did that to him when he was 14 years old, by the way. He started when he was 14 years old. And
that's crazy.
And by the time he was 17, he was in prison.
I remember when you grow up, there was always a couple things you could guarantee. Your dad was a superhero. He was like toughest guy in the world. Like he could do anything. And police and people in higher power were honest, hardworking, trustworthy people.
Yeah.
And I remember points in my life where you always like, whoa, that's not like, I'll never forget my dad one time, like asking him like, we were supposed to do this invention in school and I like this crazy invention. And I don't know, I was like 10 or 12. I don't know. And I'm telling the teacher about it. The teacher's like, your dad can do them? I'm like, yeah. Like, dad can do anything. Like, I'll never forget. Like, I swore to God he could do anything. And, like, I go home and I show it to him. He's like, I can't do this. Like, I can't build this. And I'll never forget, like, at that moment, I was like, oh, shit. My dad really can't do anything. It's just like, and it's just one of those things. Like, you'll never forget because you're just like, this is a truth, right? Like, you hold it very, very high. And
it's almost a belief.
Yeah. And then, there's the thing. And then I remember my first story with a cop that lied, like to me lied and like purposely lied to me and to try and get me in trouble just because he made a mistake. And I'll never forget being like, oh shit, like not all cops are good, and it's just like, all these beliefs you hold. And then anyways, to get back to like, like people in power, like, yeah, they screw a lot of people over. Like don't trust anyone. It's just like one of those things. And that's one of those truths. Like, and then you get older and you start reading these stories about White Boy Rick Ross, and how the government and the FBI are giving these guys drugs and guns. And it's just like, it's crazy to think about.
You want to know where the drugs and guns come from.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
Like,
so
just think like how these are just the stories that we know about.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure and we should have known, because there's certain things you don't get taught. Like, I never remember really being told that the government were giving African Americans syphilis. And
the Tuskegee, Tuskegee experiment.
And then
not only just
not curing them,
and intentional, and even after they had a proven cure, continued to not cure them.
Yeah, there's just certain things that they leave out, and just like, so you get like this false trust and like, no, it's the government. Like, they're good. Like, they wouldn't do that, right? It's like, no, they would. They have. And it's just what we know. Like, what don't we know?
Yeah, there's so much out there that and then you look at, then there's people who want more government involvement in different things. And it's like, no, just, I mean, you think it's a good idea, but look at in practice what's happened every time that we've gotten the government involved with things.
Yeah.
Every time.
Hey, you're a big, you always say government's not good. Tim asked you a question, Phil. I don't know if you.
Hey, Tim. Yeah, no, I met Will Scott yesterday. This is funny as shit, man. Not to like change the topic. This is funny as shit. So we went into Cider Creek and I made some comment about Canisteo. So that's where, the original location for Cider Creek is. And this guy asks me if I'm from there. And I said, oh yeah, I'm from there. And I start talking to him and tell him my name. 30 minutes later, we're at Crooked Tusker. And I get a text from my mom, and it's a photo of the guy that I was talking to at Cider Creek sitting on a boat. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's Bill Scott. And she says, do you know who this is? And I said, oh, it's Bill Scott. She goes, oh yeah, I'm on a boat with him right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
What were the odds of that?
Yeah.
I don't know, a bunch of them went out, so it's kind of interesting.
That is cool. That's a fun story.
Like, what were the odds?
Slim. Very slim. Oh, man.
Bizarre.
Super bizarre. Yeah. Anyways, back to corrupt governments. Yeah, so.
I don't... People think that I think all government's bad. That's not true. I don't think that. I think that what we need is less. I think we need at least a few people. You see how the government, they talk, you talk about the climate change and they call it like a hockey stick, like it's shooting up faster. It's like, that's the exact same thing that's happening with the government. Like, it accelerates faster every year. It gets bigger, faster.
Right.
It gets bigger at a bigger rate under both Democrats and Republicans. We just need somebody to just, like, I'm not saying let's abolish the government or anything. I'm just saying somebody that actually wants to at least follow the Constitution. Somebody who at least wants to, like, slow it down a little bit and say, hold on, like, we don't need to make a law for everything. We don't need, to regulate every single detail of everything. And by the way, the people writing the regulations are the corporations. You say the corporations control the government, and then you want more government regulations to control the corporations. It's like, people don't see the flaw in that.
No, yeah. There's a big flaw. You ever tried to, we get caught up in calling people the government, the police, the military, just to sit and think like they're people.
They are.
They're just they're people. They're regular people. They just have a higher power position. And on the street, when you walk down the street, how many people do you see that you're like, I want that person to have total control of my life? They're capable. Never. That's
there's nobody that can make decisions for my life better than
that's
me.
Why, we always think of people as like some they're above us in some way, and it's like there's no way. No. There's no way. I've met the best people I've met in my life have let me down before. They're not. No one's perfect. These are just regular people.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, it's when you really think back to like, hey, the government, and it's like they're not the government. Everyone has their own agenda, and everyone can say they don't, but they do. Everyone has different things that make them happy,
right?
That they want to pursue, and it's like
my agenda. I've got an agenda. I'll admit it. My agenda is just to give you back a little bit of your own autonomy. Just your own agency.
But there's a reason you want to do it.
Because I think it's right.
Which makes you feel good to think about that, for people to So it's like everyone just like has like these their motives, right? It's like what makes you happy? What gives you a reason to wake up?
Yeah.
So that's it. Everyone has their motives. Some people it's power. Some people like power. Some people like being able to do this. Like I've worked with people like that in corrections.
Yep.
The corrections officers I worked with, 30 to let's not even go high. 25 to 30% of them belonged in jail more than the people that were in there. Promise you.
Yeah.
Not good people.
Sad.
The other 70% were the coolest dudes I've ever met in my life that worked in there. It's just like like anything else, it's just shitty ass people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Every field, it's not any specific thing. Every field has people that aren't there for the best reasons.
Yeah. So when it comes to politics, why aren't we getting we should, if you want to be a politician, we should get the inside look. I want to see how you interact with your family. I want to see how you are as a person daily. I want to see you for an hour-long conversation. I don't want to see snippets with commercials and little debates. Like who is this person? You know what I mean? It's like, we don't know. We get those stupid little campaigns, those little ads. It's like, I do this, vote for me. It's like, right.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure that I agree with that all the way. I don't, as far as like that being the most important thing that I'd think about. I'm more worried about I'm less worried about what, like, if you're an asshole, and more worried about what policies you're going to put into place. Because I know a lot of really nice people that I think are great people that I think would put in the most terrible policies I've ever heard of. Like, some of them just love these policies that I'm like, oh yeah, that's atrocious. You're a really nice person. We can talk all day, but I don't like what they want to do.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And
but wouldn't you rather have
a
good intentioned person in position?
I think most people, I don't know. I'm not going to go there. What I'll say is what I want, and this becomes especially important when you look at the executive positions for some reason. But when you look at the executive positions, but every position, what I want is for their power to be reined in to where it's limited enough that it doesn't really matter that much if they're a nice person. Like, if you look at the last three presidents. Look at Biden, Trump, Obama. Out of those three, most people in the United States aboard at least one of them. Each of those presidents grew the power of the presidency. If instead of, like, when your guy gets in trying to grow the power of the presidency, if you just said, look, the president should only really have as much power as it says in the Constitution, then it really, like, you wouldn't have to lose your mind that your guy didn't get elected.
Right.
Like, just make it so that we're not putting so much into one person. Like, that was the point of that's the point of having a president instead of a monarch, is that they're not supposed to be all powerful.
Yeah.
And if you just, like, if Trump didn't have, like, the amount of power he had, and if Obama didn't, if Bush didn't have the amount of power, if none of them had the amount of power they had and then grew it, it really, like, people wouldn't have to freak out so much when they wouldn't have to have their mind blown when Hillary Clinton didn't beat Trump, Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I thought for a while when Trump got in, I thought the president had more power than he actually does. He got checked a lot more than I ever thought he would have.
Yeah.
I was like, oh God, like, this could get really interesting. And then any of the interesting stuff you've seen was just checked, a lot of times.
But he just got checked because he was doing more.
Right. I'm just saying, I couldn't believe how much he was able to get checked. So there is some, they did build in some things where you can really pull on the reins and pull people back, but it's really hard though. Did you see how hard it was? Like, they'd have to go to the Supreme Court. This whole packing seats. Now that to me is like, that's a power I never knew they had. I didn't know you could just pack
to add positions to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, that you could pack like in your favor. That seems wrong. That just doesn't even seem right.
They talked about that under Franklin Roosevelt, and like he really was planning to do it, and they said, yeah, no, like they decided not to. But he was planning on having, I want to say, double the size of the Supreme Court, so that they wouldn't be able to check all the stuff like the New Deal stuff and whatever else. I mean, he did a lot. He was president for 16 years.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy to think that these guys in power aren't even afraid to lose their people anymore, because it's always like
they protect each other.
Well, even
if they're on the other side, they protect each other.
I'm talking about
they're better than
the
us.
Commoners, let's call us, like the regular people, people that aren't in. You'll see somebody put in an outrageous policy. Both sides, I've seen it, and you're like, holy shit! Like people are gonna be pissed, and they aren't.
No,
they're like, oh well, he's still better than
yay for my tribe.
Yeah, they're still better.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, but
this
isn't right. It's like, I don't care if they're still better.
At least he's not orange.
Like I read this thing on Facebook, and they were talking about like Biden versus Trump. And the one person's comment, I can't ever get it out when I think of Biden. He goes, well, Biden may be a little creepy and he may have like a child fetish, but at least he's not Trump. And I go, that's your line? Like that's your line? Like Trump is that evil?
Yep.
That somebody that may have a child fetish, and I'm not saying he does. This was just something I read. I mean, but that person in their mind, that's how they justified it. And it's like
people just become blind when it gets to their tribe sometimes.
And then you really start going back to like, why did everyone drink the Kool-Aid? Why did everyone follow Manson? Why did Hitler take it? And it's like, this is why, because people accept.
Yeah.
They'll accept things as long as I don't know. Like, what is it? Is it tribal? Is that what it is? Because it's your team.
Yeah.
It's your side.
It's my chief. You think about, so like most of the stuff that the Democrats and Republicans are doing now, they're not based. They used to be a little bit more based on principle. And now it's based on what they think will get traction with the 24-hour news cycle. They'll pick something and they'll say, okay, well this, and then the chief of the tribe, Biden, Trump, I don't know, whoever,
name it. Yeah.
Like they'll find somebody who's going to be their leader on some issue, and whatever they go with, everybody listens and waits to figure out, what their position's supposed to be. And then they're like, yeah, well, we're Republicans, so we all want this thing, whatever it is. And it's whatever, it's frustrating.
I love being able to have a conversation with somebody that their political party, like who they back. And I love when they will be honest. Like
right.
There's no better, I don't know what the word is. What I like about somebody's character more than somebody being able to say like, yeah, I feel this way, but that was wrong. Like that's not what I want to see. Like my president do or my political party do. And
sure.
I mean, I tried to be that way. There was lots of things that Donald Trump did. I was like, that was stupid as shit. I mean, it's just like, you're just like, wow. Yeah. And like, then there's so many people like, yeah, like, oh, and it's like, no, that's not what we want. That's not at all. It's that, like, think back to, Obama. I mean, a lot of times I was like, oh, I think that's pretty good. There was a lot of things he did. I was like, I think it's good. And then it started getting to Obamacare, the money going back to Iran, stuff like this. And it's just like, and a lot of that, I was like, of course the Obamacare didn't matter, but the money back to Iran, I thought for sure a lot more people were going to be concerned on both sides.
Why didn't the Obamacare matter?
Because their side really liked the universal health care, kind of the idea, you know what I mean? Like the Democrats.
Oh, you mean whether the Democrats would like it?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, because that's kind of more into their, what they feel. But
sure.
Like the whole Iran, like we should all probably get together on terrorists are bad. And countries like Iran who fund terrorism and
Yeah.
aren't good. Like, let's all stop doing what we're doing and all say right now, ISIS is bad. Iran giving money and guns to ISIS is bad. And we should, I think, can't we all be on the same side? You remember when Trump ordered the killing of that the high-ranking general that was helping ISIS? Soleimani.
Yeah.
I remember reading things on the internet, on Facebook, from the other side that were like I couldn't believe it. And then you watch these podcasts with the Navy SEALs and some of the guys in the military that have podcasts, and they're like, this guy's bad.
Yeah.
He like orders the rape of young boys and girls, the murders of innocent families. He's like, he need to go. And these people were like honoring him.
That was a scary situation for a lot of reasons.
Rest in peace, Soleimani.
Those are on there. Yeah, he's certainly a bad person.
That's crazy.
It's more complicated. Those issues are always more complicated than they're presented, though, you know. And I'm not saying that anything about whether or not that was the right decision, but we killed him in Iran.
Right. No, I mean, was it the best peaceful? Like, is that the right way to like keep things okay? Yeah. No. But are you going to put RIP next to a guy who's murdered?
Right.
Ordered the killing of millions of people? That'd be like somebody saying rest in peace, Hitler. Like, oh, good, you know. I can't believe they do that to him. And it's like, well,
there's some, he was a bad dude.
Yeah. I don't know. I sometimes I just wish I could be in someone else's head and understand like what they're thinking. Like, I don't know why people, there's got to be a couple things where we hold truths, everybody. There's got to be like, in this country, there's got to be a couple things that people must be like, this person's bad.
What would that even be? I don't know. Like,
Jesus was good.
Jesus,
like, this person was bad. Like, there's got to be something that's held somewhere that everyone knows is the truth. No, you're probably right.
There's not.
It's hard to say.
There's not. We can't even agree that the Earth is round. Come on, man. All we know is that if you're gonna slash somebody's tires, you only slash 3 of them. Don't slash the 4th one.
Yes, thank you, Katura. And I still haven't fact checked that.
Nobody slash anybody's tires.
I still haven't fact checked that, but maybe you're right. Yeah, no, it's crazy.
We can't agree on anything.
Nothing.
And
there should be one thing.
Actually, there is one thing, I think. The one thing I heard this the other day. They were talking about, I want to say a synagogue or something. They were talking about their services, and they're like, okay, so should we stand up during the service? No. Like, some people say yes, some people say no. They can't agree on, oh, well, then should we sit down? And then some people would say no. And then some people say, oh, should we kneel? Or some people would say no. And they'd argue about all these things. And they were like, can't we agree on a tradition? And he's like, this is the tradition. The tradition is that we don't agree. The tradition is that we will argue about it.
There you go. Yeah.
And I think that's probably the thing that, you know, is with all the problems that we have, I think that's one of the things that makes America great, is that it was founded on disagreement, and it continues to be full of disagreement. And if you don't have diversity of thought and diversity of ideas, then it's not going to be great.
Right.
If everybody agrees, you can be pretty sure that you're wrong. Right. I think.
Yeah.
Newbie. A few years ago, someone asked, have you ever seen the Earth from space? Were you up there to see around Earth? Oh, no, you weren't. Well, then you don't know. I've been in an airplane, and I flew to Europe, and it seemed like rounded, you know?
Yeah, I imagine.
Like I can't see the Rockies from here, which, with how tall they are, it feels like I'd be able to see them.
A lot of people didn't know if Christopher Columbus didn't hit North America, he was going to go right off the map. So it's lucky he ran into it, because there's nothing there. So
Magellan just kind of like went around the edge.
Really did it.
Sorry, flat earthers.
Yeah, no. Listen, you gotta pick something different. A good one that I've heard is dinosaurs never really existed, and that people have faked the bones to make everyone think dinosaurs existed at one point.
Cool.
And that paleontology is a lie. And I had this guy tell me this once, and it's like, okay, but why?
Right.
Yeah. And he's like,
money.
He's like,
money, obviously.
He didn't say money. He's like, it's just more that they can control your mind if you think dinosaurs are real. And I was like, well, I mean, if dinosaurs were real or they were not, I don't think it would really affect my daily life. I just don't think that's something you need to fake.
Did you see the news? Man, it must have been 15 or 20 years ago now, when they found giants. They found like fossils of giants in Cooperstown.
Okay, no, I didn't hear this.
Yeah, some guy like made like a facsimile of like giant bones.
Okay.
And buried them in Cooperstown, and then discovered them.
I mean, hey, listen. I don't know. I don't understand why you do it. I don't know. But
money.
But he got caught, right? They knew it was fake.
They knew. Yeah, they were like, come on, dude.
They didn't start paleontology, and and people aren't archaeologists searching for giant bones now.
Yeah.
It's like it's all silly. It's so funny. Could
you imagine being in like one of those archaeologists out in the Middle East though? Like, look, they're actually looking for like the Holy Grail, or they got that. I don't know. There's like a golden chest or something.
The 10 Commandments.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff that they're actually looking for.
Do you think they exist?
The 10 Commandments?
Do you think, like, okay, so if there was a book wrote, like, let's leave religion out of it. Let's just say that the religion part is silly if you want to, or it's true. But that book would have to be, there's got to be some truth to the book then, at least. So some of this stuff must exist somewhere. Or do you think it's all fictional? It's all fake.
Like in the Bible?
Yeah, like all the events. Like, do you think like the flood?
No, I think a lot of that. I mean, obviously there's if you go back then, and it sounds to me like most of that stuff, it was written over thousands of years.
Right.
And to have a lot of it was like oral history that then was written later. I mean, stuff about Jesus was written down in like 300 AD. Mm-hmm. The people weren't there, but they were writing down. I mean, I'm not a biblical expert, but you know what I'm saying? Like, they were writing down stuff that was through oral history. So like, think about the story of a fish. The fish just gets bigger each time. And so I'm not trying to dispute whether or not any of that stuff's true.
That's not what I was just wondering, like, you got to think some of those things must exist for those archaeologists to find, right? Why don't you think like
there must have been basis
something.
Yeah, sure. A lot of that stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think so? One of the things, because I get bored and watch the History Channel all the time. They're saying like the reason people find fossils of fish so high on mountains is because of the flood. But is that not just the earth pushing up, do you think? Or do you think, you ever heard that? It's like one of the big reasons they say that. I don't know what the flood's called now. I've been to church a couple times. But I don't know.
I mean, whether we talk about that or not, I mean, there's historical evidence of, we're again outside of my expertise, but mountains are created when faults come together and push the land up.
Yeah.
So it could have been way lower back in history, and also the water level is higher. I mean, this used to be covered in water here,
right?
In certain areas, and like the Finger Lakes were rivers, and then they were rounded off by the glaciers and stuff. So totally, why not?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, religion's a tough one. That's That's one of, you know how there's like, what's the rules? There's is there 3 things or 2 things not to talk about at a bar? It's like
politics, religion.
Maybe there's 2.
Your mom. I don't know.
Now sexual orientation. Like, you guys will throw that in there, or I don't know. Who knows?
That's politics now, though.
Let me tell you this story. You're gonna love it real quick. So I had these group of, I got in trouble for calling them that, ladies, women. And I said, hi ladies, how you doing? Can I help you anything? They're like, excuse me. And that's a true story. Now, just take this in. When you come to my distillery, it's on a dirt road. There's a German Shepherd, a mixed, I don't know what dog, a Second Amendment sign, and patches from police and firefighters all over inside. You kind of know what you're getting into, is what I'm trying to get at. So I come in, hi ladies, how you doing? And excuse me. And I was like, yeah. They're like, we think the proper term is folks, or how are you all doing? To call us ladies just doesn't seem very respectful. And I was like, all like the blood.
Those are the manners we grew up with.
Those are the blood. That's the blood. Like, and I'm like, all right. And I just sat there a second. I was like, all right, folks, or all of you, thanks for coming to Barrington Distillers. Have a nice day. You should have seen their face. It was just like just so rude. That's just that's how people talk. I wasn't trying to pick on anyone. I wasn't trying to be rude or mean it in a certain way.
Yeah,
but if I can't call a group of obvious women, ladies, or anything, it just feels like, I don't know. And it's not the type of people I want to serve. And you want to know what the greatest thing about our country is? The right to refuse service. And so for all those people, I refused service. They left, and I didn't have to deal with that going on. So there you go. Now,
what if they were?
Now it's funny when I think about it, because I was like so mad, but when I sent them out and how mad they were, it was like sweet justice.
What if they were polite about it? What if they came in there like, hey, would you mind just calling us like folks or something instead of ladies?
Yeah, I mean, if she wasn't completely rude and didn't do her. So everyone has that see you next Tuesday face, though. Everyone has it. And it's like when you give me that face, it's like, no.
Yeah.
Don't care.
It seems like, if you have something that you know that you're going to disagree about, the way to convince somebody isn't to be a jerk about it.
No, if I would have been like, hey ladies, and then been like, like, hi. You also don't have to.
Hey, would you mind,
But you also don't have to do that.
Yeah, you don't have to like try to correct somebody.
You don't have to check people all the time. It's not your job, actually. If you don't want to be referred to as something, I understand if it bothers you.
Yeah.
But you also don't have to check people.
But if you disagree with somebody about something, just be polite about it.
Yeah, you can
say,
do it too.
Hey, like, would you mind just, like not calling us ladies?
Yeah, because how could you be mad about that? Because I'd be like, okay, yeah, sure. Yeah. What do you want to be called?
Yeah.
Call you whatever you want.
Yeah, because you're never going to win somebody over by telling them that what they think is wrong.
Especially when you're coming in someone's house, their business, right? Like when you, I'm not going to be like, hey, bitches, or something, it's not like something crazy, it's like, ladies, like, come on, seriously. It was
ladies.
It was just like,
you were trying to be polite.
I was just being like, yeah,
and
how you doing? And they came back way harder than you know.
If somebody's trying to be polite, you shouldn't attack them over it.
Yeah.
Even if you disagree with how they think.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. I don't know.
You know how many times somebody has said something, done something, made me feel some type of way that I didn't like, that I've gone, okay, yeah, I don't care.
All right, see you later.
It's not in 6 hours. I promise you, I won't remember it. Like, it's just like, it doesn't matter. Like, there's little you can do and say that would actually offend me more than like actions. You know, I'm not okay with people beating up on women or people treating children badly. You know, there's certain things that like that, you know, maybe then, but just because you call me,
then we're gonna have a problem.
You know, if I'm a guy and you call me a lady, you know, maybe I'll be like, that was pretty dumb. Like, you know, why would you do that? You know, it's just like, but nothing that I don't know. I just don't understand. How much energy do you have if you're going to fight every little thing that bothers you?
Can't.
Dude, how do you sleep at night? How could you? Could you imagine?
You got to let it roll off.
You'd have to be on the internet all night. Like, you'd be fighting everybody. I don't know how people do it.
It's exhausting.
I don't know. I think we're pretty similar with that. Like, just pretty, like, whatever.
Just let it roll off.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Besides the one guy on Halloween. That guy, I thought you were going to punch him. He's lucky.
Was that Halloween?
Yeah. He knows better. Call you Ricky Gervais.
That guy. Yeah, that guy.
I saw this anger in you, Phil. I was like, I don't know if Phil's ever really punched somebody in the face, but today may be the day somebody's going to get punched by Phil.
Don't come up in here. Call me Ricky Gervais. All right. Do not.
He's obviously James Bond.
Obviously Bond.
Don't profile him because of his hair color.
And somebody just brought that up like last week, saying that they thought that was like a spot on Halloween costume
for James Bond.
Yeah,
it was a good one.
They loved it. Like they like.
Yeah. And
I said, of course, yeah. Look in the tux, and they're like,
yeah. Phil went as James Bond, and I was obviously Clark Kent.
Kent.
Yeah, I mean that's what we do. So
the secret identity is like it's like the back pocket Halloween costume for.
Oh God, that was so funny. And then there was the guy. Did that guy dressed up as? Oh, Jesus! Why can't I think of it? Forrest Gump. That was my favorite. That one was a really good costume. He had the long hair, the hat. You're like, who is he? Is he like a runner? It's like, no, dude, that's Forrest Gump. Yeah.
I don't remember that one.
No, yeah. But yeah. Anyways, don't call Phil Ricky Gervais. That's the moral.
What I really took exception to, though, was the one guy that was in here the other day.
Dave.
No, the guy that we talk about occasionally that was just somebody that you don't want in your bar.
Okay. Yeah.
And because he made people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. He came in here again the other day?
No.
Oh.
No, I'm just saying, like, that's the kind of thing.
You're talking about in the bar. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that I really don't like, is when people like that come in and make people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And unsafe.
There's something to be said about going to a restaurant that people feel secure.
Yeah.
You feel pretty secure at a
restaurant.
You should. More than you would the tavern. Like, if you go to the tavern, you may do a couple like curls, maybe like, I gotta do a couple push-ups, some sit-ups, stretch a little,
just warm up.
Yeah. But like, you go to a nice sit-down restaurant, you do feel secure. Like, you think like, oh, this is a very it doesn't feel like any violence, right? It's a nice restaurant. So I see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, to feel uncomfortable when someone's acting like that is not good. So.
You shouldn't really be made to feel uncomfortable anywhere.
But there's certain environments you can expect.
Sometimes, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But people that do that, it's not good.
Yeah.
Shouldn't do that.
No, especially, it's too bad. And you don't want people to feel that way.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I used to tone it down back in the day, because people would be like, the way you act, it's like you're like intimidating. You're like very in your face and aggressive, and it's like, oh, I don't mean to make you feel that way. Like, I don't want to be that. I'm just having fun, So, and then I had some guy tell me, he was actually my psychology professor. He said, "Can we stop worrying about how people feel because of who you are?" Like, he said that, like,
sure, if
somebody's intimidated by you,
yeah.
Is it that you're intimidating or they're intimidated?
Right.
And it's like,
right.
And
but that's different from what I'm talking
about. No,
I
know. Like, no, it's just something where he's like, everyone tries to change to make people, like, if somebody feels a certain way around you, what is it really? It's not you. Like, be who you are. Unless you're
For some of you, it could be you.
He goes,
it could be you.
Unless you're an asshole. I love this professor. He's like, then you're probably an asshole. Right?
Yeah.
And he's like, but a lot of times, if somebody feels like, and I think he was probably the first libertarian like person I ever came across, because he was more of like, just let everyone be everybody. Like,
yeah.
If that person being that way makes you uncomfortable, and he brought up like the homophobia, he thought it was so stupid.
Right.
He's like, why is that a thing? Like, because if this was going on for hundreds of thousands of years, no one would say anything. It'd just be like a regular day. You wouldn't care. So if that makes you uncomfortable, it's not them.
It's you.
It's you.
Yeah, that's true.
You need to find a way to either take yourself out of the situation or find a way to be comforted. And he's like, that doesn't mean you have to jump on board, or, even if you don't want to accept it, but it shouldn't bother you. It shouldn't keep you up at night. It shouldn't make you leave a place. And, just that guy, that guy really, psychology was one of my favorite, just like being around somebody who thought like that.
Yeah,
it's perfect. I grew up in Dundee, and people don't think like that in Dundee. It's like you grew up in a small town like that. I'm sure it's like, everyone's like, this is how you think. This is what we do. And that's it. There's no in between. So,
I don't even remember.
Yeah.
Like, that was a lifetime ago.
Right.
I've lived more than half my lifetime outside of that now.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
and you've traveled.
And I've traveled. I've been around the world. And you see, what I've learned is that people everywhere are kind of the same. And it, like, the more you travel, the smaller the world is. And it's like, oh yeah, like they maybe look a little bit different. They eat like pickled fish, and
it's pretty gross.
Yeah, it's like not my thing. But and they speak a language I don't really understand. But they really, at the end of the day, we all want the same things. Everybody just wants to, be a little bit happier. That's it. Just take care of their family, or go home at the end of the day and just be able to relax, whatever it is.
I thought you were going to go deep with that. I thought you were going to go, everyone wants to go home, and I didn't know where you were going to go.
Yeah, just like,
kept it pretty.
Everybody just wants to have like a nice life.
Yeah, most people.
Some people like excitement, some people, but there's like the same kinds of people everywhere you go.
Yeah. And I think the hardest part is the way of thinking, though, and the way to get there is different.
Well,
our idea of having a good day and going home is a lot different than people in Miami. It's just like, I think that's the tough part.
Kind of. I mean, like we have different customs, but
yeah,
it's just good people wanting to do good things. And
hey, there's I've always said most of the people in the world are good people, but there's a million great people, and then there's probably one really, really bad person.
Sure.
It's probably how it usually goes. Like maybe there's more. Maybe
like how they even got bad.
Maybe
like,
there's 100,000 good people, and there's like one really bad person. I mean, that's the way it feels. Like, yeah. So, I think most people try to do right.
But everywhere I've ever been, it's like, it's the same kind of people. They go to their job. They, they do their thing. End of the day, go home, maybe have a beer, maybe not.
There was some pretty shocking statistics where I started thinking maybe my idea of there's a lot of good people and like just a couple bad people might be different. And it's not something I think we should go on, but it was how many women have been sexually assaulted.
Right.
And it was like high.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not good. You know, so I mean, I looked at that and I was like, maybe not as many people are as good as I thought they were. I don't know. And but the thing on there was like somebody, they were trying to say like some amount of men, and I was like, no man I know would do it. So just to me, like, that doesn't seem it doesn't seem
when it's possible. By like it's like a small number of serial offenders doing these things,
right? Because that's all I can. Because most, like, I've always thought, like, every person I've ever met, even if I'm like, that guy's a douchebag, it's just like, probably on a different day and a different circumstance, probably would have thought he was pretty cool.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. And then there's some people that are just, kind of mean. People like Newbie that are just mean to you.
Yeah.
So.
Newbie.
Friggin' noob. And then I read bestiality under Newbie. Thanks, Noob. Stay away from that one. We got to get Newbie back in here.
Yeah, we got to get, or maybe we'll go down him.
Newbie. So listen, I got a couple fake injuries for you that I need to know if you can fix. And these are really just like, these are just in case injuries I need to know how to fix in case of an apocalypse again. So I'm going to need some serious help. So serious.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've already figured out what happens if you got shot in the chest with an arrow.
Yeah.
What if your arm is trapped under a boulder, Newbie?
Cut it off with a rock.
How long should you wait before you decide to cut it off with a dull pocket knife that you...
I'd probably just lift the boulder up on my other arm. I don't know about the rest of you.
What's the deal with these people that are like trapped on their boulders for 2 weeks? It's like, why don't you just lift it up?
Lift it up.
Like
you're not doing it right. No. Yeah. No, a couple. Like I really need to know how to cut through the bone properly. I'm going to need some help from Newbie.
You got to cut the bone. What's this do?
Full screen.
Cool.
Wow. But then we
can't
can't
see
now
we can't see the comments.
Is there a way to bring the comments up? Cam, Mike, stop cam, invite.
Damn.
No.
That would be cool. I like this.
This is Marianne's fault, probably. If she was here, she'd know what to do.
Yeah. We miss you, Marianne.
Yeah.
Come back.
Come back. Baby, come back.
Baby, come back.
You can blame it all on me.
All right. Well, I think that's about enough for one day.
All right. Hey, guys. See you later.
Everybody, yeah, enjoy. Stay dry. Maybe it's done raining out there, hopefully.
Hopefully. Adios.